Hello and welcome back to Utterly Unfiltered with Tash and
Cara.
the hot water bottle / ferret.
Yeah.
It's her new
It's my new bestie.
bestie. It's like a familiar, you know, from
it is actually.
whatever it's called.
Yeah.
Golden Compass? I don't know.
Yeah, that's the one. I have a sore neck for some unknown reason. I don't know why.
Is that funny?
Yeah, I don't know though, because it's been a few days and it's getting worse.
So you have to excuse the ferret that's joining
sorry
us
guys. I feel like it's not a good look, but we're gonna run. We're gonna run with it.
Tuck the blanket up, like a toga.
Ooh.
You can wear the blanket like a toga.
Oh
There
yeah.
you go.
Oh,
There we go.
What ferret hot
So
water bottle?
cozy.
Nice.
Alright, thank you so much for coming back and joining us this
thank you,
Monday.
guys. Ooh, what do we have in store for our
Today
listeners
we
this
are
week?
talking about, this is going to be a fun episode. This is red and green flags in dating.
And this is going to be controversial.
It definitely is.
Because some people's red flags might be other people's green flags.
And also, Cara hasn't dated in like 100 years.
I know.
And I have dated, but
In 100 years.
I also am like, I feel like sometimes when I was looking at these questions, for example, it's like there's red and green flags when you're 21 and there's red and green flags when you're 28.
Yeah.
It's like, and now I'm thinking, like, if I was to tell my friend now, like, if my friend told me about a guy that they were dating, or a girl, or whatever, and they were like, oh, they did this, I'd be like, red flag, or green flag, or whatever, but I'm seeing it from the perspective of a 28-year-old now, so it's like, it's a little bit different from when you're young, you know?
Kind of reminds me of like red light, green light. Red light, green light. You know, no, surely not. Surely that reference is not lost on you.
It was lost on me.
Oh my god, what was the other one that was lost on you, which was ridiculous? I think people like chirped you a lot in the comments on Insta for this one.
Oh no.
It was, oh no, Cleo, and then you didn't know what it was, and I had to explain it. If you don't know what it is, I'm not explaining it again. Red light, green light. It's from the Netflix show that's really popular. You know, the one where they go into the into the place where they have to do all of these tasks and then they get killed off one by one.
Squid Game?
Yes,
I've
thank
not
you.
seen Squid Game.
Yeah, no.
As if I would watch a TV show about people getting killed off one by one.
I think it's quite
I
fascinating.
am the biggest baby when it comes to TV shows. Actually, I've been watching some good ones recently.
Oh, such as?
So we binge watched Rivals.
Oh, you said I need to watch that. I haven't watched it.
Which is, if you haven't seen it, it's on Disney Plus, actually, which is a Rogue One for it. Because it's a British TV show. I don't even know if the company's British, but as in like it's British actors. It's based in the Cotswolds.
Oh yeah.
And it's about a TV company, which you're going to presume is ITV or something along the lines of like
a makeshift, like a sort of...
Yeah, it's like the beginnings of like an independent television channel, because beforehand it was all BBC.
Okay.
And so the main character leaves the BBC and joins this like or one of the main characters joins this independent company, and the guy who runs it turns out to be like so insane, although you kind of like can't tell at the beginning that he's like a bad guy, but
like evils, like murders.
no,
or just really corrupt.
No, it's not a murder show. Just very corrupt and he's very what's the word, like he has a lot of clear issues, you know, like ego driven and like, you know, competitive and angry and all those kinds of things. And there's like loads of, basically the whole show is just endless infidelity, but it's kind of like in a funny way.
Okay.
In the sense of like, obviously it's not like real life, it's a TV show, and like I don't think that in reality that would
funny.
happen, but it's like
in the context of the characters,
in the context
and
of
the
the characters,
situations.
yeah, it's quite funny. And there's like, he has like a massive rivalry with one of the other main characters, and then all of his staff move from his TV company to a new one, and then they build a new one. And anyways, it's just a lot of drama and sex and funniness and scandal.
Nice. Rivals.
Yeah, it's really
Disney
good.
Plus.
There's only 8 episodes, but they are going to bring out a second season. It ended on a massive cliffhanger, and honestly, one of those cliffhangers where you're like, this could have gone terrible or it could be fine. We don't really know. It's like,
so a good one.
It's like a bit like, oh, okay, you're really gonna make us wait for this? Like, I'm a bit scared. But,
okay.
Hopefully, I mean, presumably, because I don't think you could go on with the show if the absolute worst had happened. You're gonna have to presume that it's like not as bad as it looks. Okay. Because otherwise, I don't think there'd be a TV show, because you can't just like you know, you just need anyway, I don't know.
Ooh.
I don't want to give all the spoilers,
Okay.
but it's very good. And then
tip.
we also have, there's no finished that, we started Shrinking, which is on
You
Apple
mentioned
TV.
in the
That's
last...
actually like 2018 or something. It's quite old now. Maybe not 2018 actually, but anyways, it's been going on for a while. But it's got Jason Segel in it, who
he's good.
is Marshall in How I Met Your Mother.
Yeah.
And he's very funny. He's in
so
loads of other
good.
things too. He's the main character. And then it's just about, he's a therapist, but he's gone through like a massive loss in his life. And so he's grieving, and it's like he's being probably not the most responsible. But actually it's quite interesting because it's obviously an American TV show. And one of the biggest controversial things about him in the TV show is that he's given up on the traditional therapist route of sitting there listening. He's like, I've been listening to you guys say the same things for the last 5 years.
Okay.
Like, fuck this. Let's do some exposure therapy. Like, and he's like, starts like shouting at them. He's like, to this one woman who's like
unorthodox.
Yeah, who's like always complaining about her abusive boyfriend. She's like, just fucking leave him already then.
Yeah.
Or like...
so he's cutting through the bullshit.
Yeah, or like one of them who's got an anger issue. He's like, why don't you like channel that anger into something else, like Muay Thai or whatever, or boxing. And so he takes him boxing, and it's like, it's the funny thing is that in the show it's deemed as like, this is terrible practice.
Yeah.
But actually it's not.
Probably quite forward thinking.
Yeah, in especially in like the UK or in other countries, maybe in America, psychiatry or, you know, seeing a shrink is deemed as like something that you just sit in an office. But like, actually exposure therapy and stuff is used as a technique to help people with different types of trauma. And whilst he probably isn't going about it the best way, what he's basically doing is life coaching.
Okay.
Which is in its own way a successful thing. If you can't get change through sitting there and talking,
do it through activity.
There are other ways to do it, right? And so it's really interesting for that from a somebody who studies psychology's point of view, seeing all the discourse around like, is what he's doing bad or good? Good question. But I do think in the grand scheme of things in the show, it's going to be deemed as not great, but there'll be something that good comes out of it.
Of course, yeah.
But actually, in reality, it's not terrible. Anyways, it started slow and we weren't that into it, but it's actually gotten better and funnier throughout.
Oh, cool.
So that's really good. And then the third one, I'm just on one now.
I regret asking the question.
This is really good, though. It's called Love, and it's on Prime Video, maybe?
It's not with Anna Kendrick, is it?
No.
Oh.
I have seen that, though. Is that like Modern Love or something like that?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
She's like dating.
I've seen that one too.
Dates loads of guys.
No, this is it's called Love, but it's got Gillian Jacobs. She's Britta in Community, and which is like a sitcom, American sitcom. Anyways, she's really good, and it's about her and this guy who she meets, and they kind of like semi have a relationship, but they're not like there yet. And she's got like issues with drugs and alcohol, and but she's not like on the street a mess type. She's just like kind of like addicted, but like at home whilst having a full-time job, whilst, you know, paying her rent, like that kind, you know. It's like
functioning.
Yeah, she's very much a functioning addict. Yeah.
Okay.
And she's definitely a little crazy for sure. Anyways, that's really good because the dialogue is so realistic and so like real that it really gets you hooked into it. It's really good. So I really and that's got 3 seasons. We're only like just the beginning of season 2.
I think it's impressive when they do that, when there's like a realism to it, when there's like a realistic attribute to, because I feel like that's when you become invested in the characters.
Definitely. And I feel like, have you ever seen Fleabag?
No, but I know the concept.
So good. You have to watch that. I'd say this is like an American style
version
Fleabag.
of. Okay.
Well, there's another TV show called Feel Good, which is also a British one. That's another one it's kind of Fleabag-esque, and this is again like American version of that kind of, where it's like dark, but it's real at the same time.
It's interesting how people will look for different sort of mediums or different like styles of film and TV for different purposes. Like you have the escapism of the ones that are totally unrealistic, and then you have like the relatability of others, and I think you kind of need a bit of both. But that's interesting. Okay.
I'm a big TV person. We watch TV every single night. So
I've been watching Missing You, which is a British like whodunit kind of mystery vibes.
Nice.
On Netflix. And it's this girl who's she's a detective, and her dad, who is like the chief detective, was murdered, like, I don't know, 10, 15 years ago, I can't remember the timeline, and at the same time her then fiance left her, like just ghosted her, took all his stuff and ghosted, and obviously it's connected, we just don't know how yet.
Yeah.
So I like that, and the British do mysteries really well.
Yeah.
You guys do them really, really well.
Absolutely.
Better than I'd say American. There's definitely more element of unpredictability and surprise with the British one. I like that.
I think that's because there's so many of those on the BBC.
Yeah.
It's like all the actors have started that way, haven't they?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
That's what they do. That's
Love
their vibe.
that. Anyway, sorry for that ramble about TV shows. Have you guys liked TV
how did
shows?
that come about?
I actually don't
What did I
know.
even ask you? It was like it's a red light, green light. That's what it was. It was Squid
that's
Game.
how we got there.
Because Squid Game have a second season out, but I haven't watched it, and you clearly won't watch it.
No, absolutely not.
But that's what that reminded me of. It's like, imagine if you had like a filtering system, and every time you'd see like a green light, the person could like come forward and progress to you, and then every time you saw there's like a red flag, they would just die. That wouldn't be very forgiving.
Not very forgiving, no.
It would be like one way of like, survival of the greenest
Yeah.
flag.
I like that.
Doesn't
Sounds like
make
the
any
nicest
sense.
people.
I don't know. I've had too much coffee. You've given me too much coffee, and now
You
I'm
asked for one.
I know, and it was delicious. I'll probably have another one later. Anyways, here I am with my little hot water bottle, feeling really buzzed.
Shall we jump straight into
Let's
the
go
episode?
for it.
Yeah, let's do it.
Straight in.
Yes, I know.
After
After rambling for a while, you get the idea.
You get the
Usually we
idea.
ramble for more, don't we?
we
Let's be
do.
honest.
To be fair, this was pretty good. This is probably we are recording, right?
Yeah,
I did have this thought of like, okay,
Yeah,
cool.
we're recording. All
We
good.
good. We good.
All right, Carl, why don't you start? Well, actually, we'll jump back and forth, but what would you say was a red flag? If you were going to give someone some dating advice, what to look out for when they're dating somebody new, when they're starting a new relationship?
I have a couple. First one is gaslighting. That's a big one for me.
How do you pick up on gaslighting?
I don't know. I mean, I know it's a recent. Well, maybe to me it's like a recent concept, but obviously it's always been happening. It's just that we've labeled it now and recognized it as something that is not healthy. Gaslighting, I think it's like trivializing your problems. Like if you go to, and particularly when it's that like significant, I know this is maybe like jumping into the relationship stage because maybe you can't always pick it up in dating, but I think it's like when you open up to someone about something, or something that they've done that maybe has made you feel uncomfortable and you're explaining your perspective, and they're making you feel like you have the problem, or that you're obsessive, or you're kind of reading into things, or trivializing your problems.
Yeah.
Because that's that person that you go to with all your really like deep kind of emotional, vulnerable stuff.
True.
And if they're then making you feel like you're silly for it, or that it's a you problem, not a them problem, and ultimately all of your problems should be a them problem too, because you're together, you're a unit, you're a team.
Yeah, if they're not taking you seriously, then that shows they don't really respect you, and therefore, what's the point?
For sure.
Like, where is this even going at that
Exactly.
point? Yeah.
And making it like, it's like, if they have done something, and whether, be it that you're exaggerating or that it's but whatever your reaction is, if they're blaming you for your reaction to what they've caused, I hate it. Like if they've done something that's made you feel uncomfortable and then you've become emotional about it, say you're upset or you're crying or you're whatever, and then they're like back at you for that, like
no,
that is the source. Like, that is the source. My reaction is not the problem. It was the source of my reaction. That's
and
the
it's
problem.
like it's okay to explain why you did that thing or said that thing or your perspective, but first you've got to comfort. It's like the idea of,
for sure, like
I'm sorry that I made you feel that way. This is what I meant.
Exactly.
It's like, it's not like, oh right, you're right, sorry, I shouldn't have ever done that.
No, exactly.
And sorry.
Exactly.
It's,
It's
like,
how
explain
it's handled.
Yeah, exactly.
Because you could be in the wrong. Like I could have exaggerated. Someone could have done something, and I just have, for some bizarre reason, like it's triggered something in me that probably wasn't even related to them, and I've gone to them and said, look, this has upset me, and it's instead of them saying to you, well, that's ridiculous, like don't be so sensitive and brushing off your feelings.
It's like, I obviously didn't mean that, so it's fine. It's like, it wasn't obvious to me, so
it's just like talk it through. Communication is a big one, right? So that's a red flag.
Definitely.
I don't love that. Another one that I'm kind of like starting to become more aware of is like, it's effort. It's like not putting in effort. It's like kind of like if the ball's always in your court and you're always making the plans, they probably aren't that interested.
No.
And you can kind of, I think we do this thing where we fill in the blanks and we make excuses for people. So if you don't get back to my message, people are on their phones all the time. You have 5 minutes in your day to get back to me. If you
Yeah.
don't, and I'm making excuses for you, saying, oh, you're probably busy doing something else, or maybe you're taking time away from, Insta or whatever, and then you see they post a story.
Yeah, or
and
they're
you're like,
online.
cool.
It's like, okay,
You just really don't care.
Yeah, like, that's great.
That's a big one. Communication, I think it comes back to, for me, always. I think if you don't communicate, especially because I love communicating, probably too much so.
As you can tell from this podcast.
As you can tell from this podcast, if you don't communicate with me for whatever reason, or you mishandle your communication with me, it's just not going to work.
No.
It's just not going to go anywhere.
Yeah.
I'm a big one
well,
for talking
it is actually
feelings.
the core to everything, because otherwise we just make each other upset all the time.
Yeah, for sure,
and
no reason.
It's so crazy because you just never really taught the skill of communication, I think.
No, it's
like,
true.
You might be taught the skill of debate in school,
Yeah.
or the skill of poetry.
Or language, or punctuation.
Yeah,
but not how to handle people's...
communication, like how to like take a step back, listen to what the other person is saying, like listen to understand, not to respond. Like that's not something that we ever get taught, and it's definitely not something that that is generational.
For sure.
Like,
it's not always, and it's gender biased as well, right? Like I've heard it from the male perspective of like, they didn't really share their feelings. They didn't really talk about it. It was shown as a weakness to talk about how you feel, to show vulnerability or emotion. So I understand and I have empathy to a point with that when it's a guy, but I think you need to actively learn to get past it if you're going to then be with someone who's got a different communication style.
Yeah.
So adapting and learning from each other, and how I communicate my feelings might not be how you do, but it's like meeting in the middle of, okay, cool, but we need to find some common ground here.
Absolutely. And I think the thing is that like there is obviously some empathy and that you don't get taught that way, so therefore it's something new. But what I've realized is that the whole of adult life is just unlearning all the things you're taught as a kid.
This is where my book is going to come in and be a segue.
Really?
Okay, so I said to Tash that when I was killing time at the station, it was so fucking cold, honestly, my hands. So I went into like there was like an Asian supermarket that I spent some time in, just like pretending to look around. I didn't know what anything was, but I was like, it's warm in here. And then I went to, actually looked like super cool. There was like all these like hoisin sauces. Anyway, I digress. Then I went into the WH Smith because I was like, more warmth, please. And I was getting a bit sus in the Asian store because I was just looking and not buying anything. So I moved on, and I found myself in this sort of self-help book section. I haven't read many self-help books. I should. I've read a couple and I've loved them, so I don't know why I don't. But there was one there. I took a picture of it because I was going to then go and buy it on Amazon. But it was like £15 and I'm stingy / broke. So I got the Audible online instead. But the book itself is called Untamed.
I have that book. I think I might have given it to Iona, but yes, it's amazing.
Glennon Doyle. Is it good?
Oh my! It was on my, the episode we did on books you have to read.
Did you talk about it?
Yeah, I did. Yeah,
Oh, shit.
It's fantastic. It's the first.
Clearly, I listened.
The first self-development book I ever read.
So that's it, right? The principle of it, from what I gather, you'll be able to correct me or fill in.
It's been
the
years,
gaps.
so you go for it.
But yeah, I'm I think a chapter in that I listened to on the train last night when I was tired. But it's basically that. It's like unpacking all of the layers that have been placed on you by society or parents or generations or yourself or media, etc. And it's just finding out who you actually are underneath that all. Yeah. Anyways, that was a segue. I know we're dating. Anyways,
no, it's so true. And
I'm loving it so far.
Love that
I think
book,
I will.
So I'm very excited for you to read that, and I'm excited. We'll definitely have to do a debrief on an episode once you've finished it. Okay, I would love that.
Yeah.
It's so true. And I think one of the things is that when you're now I'm trying to think what I was going to say about unpacking, unlearning things that you learn when you're younger, so therefore
you communicate better, or
it's not an excuse to not learn to communicate.
Sure.
I think it was kind of the vibe I was going for. I can't remember, because there are so many things that you're taught when you're younger, like for example, as girls, if you're loud and assertive, you're taught that's bossy or offensive, and therefore you need to go quiet. But then as soon as you get to the workplace, you have to be loud and assertive in order to be taken seriously or progress in your role. So you then have to completely unlearn something you spent years and years learning.
So true.
And there's so many aspects of things like that. So I do think that at some point, especially again when I was saying about talking about this from the perspective of a 28-year-old, not a 21-year-old anymore. It's like, I have less empathy now for people who don't put in the effort to unlearn things that they've learned in the past, because it's no longer an excuse,
I agree. And we are responsible now for each other's feelings, be it friendships, family, romantic. We are now to an age where like we're dealing with real shit, and we need to be responsible for enhancing ourselves in order to better support that other person and ourselves. I agree, like especially when it's like a romantic partnership and you are a unit, you have to at some point accept that you need to do some growth in order to grow, you know, to facilitate that other person's well-being.
It's like if dating isn't working for you, if you're out there and you're not managing to find, you know, someone who for example, if you're a guy out there and you're trying to find a girl or another guy, but whatever, to date and to grow old with and to have a relationship with or whatever, and you're thinking like, oh, I just keep going on these dates with people and it's just, we're not clicking, it's just not working. It's like, okay, are you asking them questions? Like, are you interested in them? Like, are you also bringing something to the table? Have you prepared in advance like what you like want to bring as a partner in this relationship, you know? That's
another red flag is when they're, for me, sorry, because it's on my list.
No, go for it.
And it's when they talk about, when it's like, and I have a lot of empathy for this because everyone wants to feel valued, but I think sometimes people will go into something to satisfy themselves and to give them a self-value, but they're not really interested in the person. The person is more just like a soundboard. So like if, for example, you're with someone and the conversation is around them and their interests, like it's always going to be unbalanced, right, at times. But if it's like 80%, 70% about that person and they're telling you and they're sharing with you and you're excited because they're sharing all this stuff with you and they're showing you all the you know, like their memories and talking about their hobbies and their deep feelings, and that's awesome and you want to be there to hear that for them. But there needs to be reciprocity in the sense of, are they asking you questions? Like, cool, they're sharing their favorite childhood memories. Are they then asking you what's yours? Or is it just, are you just there to like listen to them? You know what I mean? Then they're not, babe, they're not interested. Like they're interested in someone hearing, but it really is irrelevant whether it's you or anyone else. Don't mean it in a mean way.
And they're not mature enough to have a long-term relationship until they learn that lesson themselves. And hopefully eventually they'll get there. It's like they just haven't got the maturity level to realise that's not how you work.
But it's easy to fall into that trap of thinking, oh, this person is like, they're opening up to me, they're trusting me, and you don't want to stop them because you want to be that safe place for them. But also, like, you need your safe place. You need someone to be interested in you too. You also have a lot of value you can bring, and you also want to be understood. Sounds really basic, but I've fallen into that trap many a time.
100%. So,
that's another red flag. Mine are a little too serious, my red flags. Let's get some of yours. Yours are fun.
Well, leading off of what you just said, one of my red flags is the phrase of like, when someone shows you who they are, believe them. And it's like the concept of like, when someone shows you like, you know, that they're self-involved, for example, that they just only talk about themselves and not asking you any questions, believe them. That's who they are. If someone says, you know, if someone's like, oh, you know, all my exes are crazy, you know, like they're telling you that they're crazy. They are not the exes.
That person.
They've made all their exes crazy. It's them. They're the problem. They're telling you who they are in plain and clear words.
Sometimes maybe their exes are crazy because they have really bad taste.
In which case, they're the problem stuff. They've got bad taste. If they can't pick someone who is matching their energy on their maturity level.
So guys, if all your exes are crazy, Tash is giving you a strong little lesson here of self-reflection.
It is a lesson of self-reflection. You need to heal from that before you get into a new relationship with somebody else. Otherwise, guess what? You're going to think that ex is crazy too when that relationship ends. I could have guessed it. Like, it's the truth.
Yep.
And then it's like if someone says, oh, you know, I really like you, but I just don't know if I'm ready for a relationship right now. Believe them. They're not ready for a relationship. If someone says, you know, oh, I'm just really worried that I'm going to hurt you because, you know, I've just hurt people in the past. Believe them. The second somebody says to you, oh, I'm worried I'm going to hurt you, they've already hurt you. It's happened. It's already happened at that point. It just has. It's just like a thing. It's like if someone says...
in that moment they've hurt you, or as in that is just like a projection of what would happen?
It's just going to happen.
It's going to happen.
It's basically foreshadowing. It's the concept of foreshadowing. If someone goes into a relationship with someone already thinking that they're worried they're going to hurt them,
then they're going to hurt them.
They either already have hurt them without them even knowing, you know, maybe you're on your 5th date and on date 3 they did something bad, you know. Or they're going to, and probably very soon. Like, it's just...
Interesting.
If someone tells you who they are, believe them. Like...
I understand the principle and I agree, take people at face value, especially if they're being honest with you. And then wanting to give them the benefit of the doubt, but deep down you kind of know, you have that feeling. But I challenge that from the perspective, I don't think that it allows for that kind of growth mindset. For example, if someone says to you, all my exes are crazy. No, that's a bad example because we've already we've tackled that. What am I trying to say? Tash? I'm trying to say that I don't think you can always believe people, because I don't think people even know themselves at certain points. And maybe that in itself is a problem and they need to work on that, and then maybe you take a step back until you both kind of know who you are and what you want from a relationship. But if someone says to you, or they're trying to send you a warning, like, it could be because they're really vulnerable and they're afraid to be hurt. You know, if someone says, I'm not ready for a relationship, maybe it's because they're scared, and maybe you can work with them. Maybe. But
do you not think that's romanticizing the relationship or compromising on something?
I'm a romantic. But relationships are compromised at the heart of themselves.
They are, but should they be compromised on date 1 or 2?
We always compromise from date 1 or 2.
Really?
Say you meet someone and they love reading and you don't like books. If you're really interested in that person, you're probably going to go away and do a bit of research on a book that they like, so that you can come next time and share that interest, no?
Maybe, but them liking books is not going to take away your quality of life.
No, it should never take it away. But I don't think compromise should always take something away. I actually think if you're with the right person and you compromise, it's adding something.
I agree.
To your life. If it's taking it away, then that's not the right person for you.
I agree. I just don't think you should compromise on your, like, wants and needs early on in a relationship. So, like, with the whole I'm not ready for a relationship thing, I think that if someone says that to you, I don't think anything you do is going to change that fact. You're going to just be putting your own needs to the side and be like, oh, well, they're not ready now, maybe they'll be ready in the future. It's like, if they're not ready and you're ready, you're never going to be on the same timeline, because by the time that they're ready, you're going to already resent them for having not been ready before, or you're already going to be in love by the time they're ready to just call you girlfriend, boyfriend. You know, you're always going to be one step ahead of them because you never started at the same timeline at the beginning.
But does that approach allow for, like, just the human condition of, when you are then in a serious relationship with someone, there will be inevitably times when, you know, that kind of ratio of, you're not always going to be 50%. Sometimes you're going to be 60, they're going to be 40, they're going to be 70, you're going to be 30. Like, you kind of just need to make up the 100 between you.
Yeah.
And I'm very much a believer in that. And I don't think you can go into a relationship both being 50-50. Do you think it's possible? Is that what you're saying we should strive for?
I think it is. I don't think it's sustainable in a long-term relationship. I do think long-term relationships do require compromise. I think from the 6 month point onwards, there's going to start being ups and downs and different levels, and somebody's ready to move in, but somebody just wants a couple more months. Unless it's a case where you and your, you know, best friend of 4 years realize you actually want to date, or you and your co-worker who've been flirting for a while go on a few dates, or, you know, if it's one of those cases where, like, you know each other for a long time, but maybe one person isn't ready,
right,
and the other person is, but you think eventually it might work out. That's different. I'm not really referring to, like, those nuanced cases.
I just like to take it there every time. I always want to take it to the deep. Like, we wear so many faces, so how can you show someone who you are, because do you even know who you are? But that is me just spiraling.
Yeah,
Let's just bring it back to the surface.
But I think, like, if you're dating someone, you go on a dating app, or you met somebody in a bar or whatever it is, I do think, like, if you don't want the same things now, how can you ever expect to want the same things? Because you have nothing else to base it on. Other than the fact that you both like each other. You know, you're on date 3. Okay, you've had a few really successful dates, and, you know, maybe you've met a friend or two or whatever, but one of them's like, actually, I just don't know if I'm ready for this right now. They're saying, and I'm not ready for this with you. I'm not ready for this with you. I don't want to go on a 4th date. That's literally what they're saying.
In which case,
they might be saying, oh yeah, I want to shag, you know, we can do that, but I don't want to, you know, if in 6 months time you decide you love me, I'm not going to be where you are.
That's fair.
It's like, why would you put yourself through that if that's not what you want? If you're out there looking for a life partner,
maybe I'm just a masochist, and I love a bit of to and fro and ups and downs.
And I think also, like, if you're like 19, 20, you can afford to make mistakes.
True.
And it's not like, oh, it's 21, 22, 23, 24, whatever.
That's
you can
true.
afford to make mistakes at any age, really, but I'm just like somebody who's like, you have to protect yourself to some extent.
Yeah,
and it's like,
it's true.
What if someone's talking to me or whatever and they're the cause of their own issues because they are romanticizing or they are being like, oh, maybe he'll change his mind or whatever it is. I just think that you are hurting yourself intentionally. And it's not worth it. There are people out there who will want the same things that you want. Like, I can guarantee that.
Yeah,
they're not going to be perfect.
It's a big old world.
You're going to have to compromise. Yeah. You are going to have issues. You're going to have to decide things together and separately as to what you want in life. But I'm just saying, right at the beginning, if someone says, I'm not ready, they're not ready. If right at the beginning someone says, I don't want kids and you do, don't date them. You know, I don't believe in marriage. I really want to walk down the aisle. Don't date them. Like,
it's true. So but then that allows. I can go with that. I can get on board with that because that allows for a little bit of. It's like you're not just saying a blanket statement of, I'm never going to compromise, but it's more like you're prepared to compromise on certain things.
Yeah.
So maybe that person's not ready, and you're kind of prepared for that because you're like, fine, let's just have a little bit of fun then. But maybe you're like, nah, I'm not going to waste my time. I want something different from this.
Exactly, because like
so maybe you pick and choose.
Yeah, and we said with the book thing, it's like that it doesn't harm their life, but not wanting to get married and wanting to get married, that will harm their life. That's pretty
significant.
That is going to hurt you down the road.
Yeah.
So don't pretend. You know, if someone tells you what they want, tells you who they are, believe what they're saying.
But people do change. I'm just saying.
People do change and they change their mind. And actually, you know, it goes both ways in the sense that you can't guarantee that the person you meet on date 1, 2, 3, who tells you who they are, is going to be the same person in 3 years' time. And then you might end up breaking up. But at least, you know, you held yourself and your partner at the time to those standards at the beginning.
Okay, that's interesting.
You know?
And I like it.
Thank you.
Okay.
I need to turn my laptop back on again because I can't see what my other ones were.
Oh, my fave one.
Cara loves this one. Okay.
I love this one.
So some light-hearted ones now. Red Flag has Snapchat.
Okay, and would you like to explain why?
Because Snapchat, notoriously, especially for my generation, okay, so if you're like a younger person, you might not agree with this, but I have a feeling it's probably the same. I don't think it's changed all that much. Snapchat is basically the platform to send nudes.
Dick pics.
It is dick pic central, okay?
Is it because they disappear?
Yeah, because it's only 60 seconds or whatever, or less than that, whatever it is. So if someone you're dating and you are an adult, you know, like you're not a kid anymore, and the person you're dating has Snapchat, in my opinion, red flag. Red flag, okay?
I also don't like that you can track each other, like,
yeah, you can track each other. You can see how many people they're messaging and how often they're messaging people.
Nah.
You can save certain things, so it's not actually confidential.
It's pretty sus.
Confidential.
Yeah.
It's so sus. It's so dodge, and it's like some people will say like even if the man has a social media presence, that's a red flag. I wouldn't go so far as that, but I would say Snapchat is absolute not from me.
I just think like we've outgrown it now. I haven't had Snapchat probably for 5 or 6 years.
No,
more. Actually, I think I only had it for a year.
It's just so childish in my opinion. Even the yellow app is just it just gives child, and that is just not it for me.
It gives child or it gives dick pics.
Yeah.
So either way,
one or the other, both ways.
Hopefully not both.
Yeah. The next thing on my list of red flags. This is a personal one. Picky eater.
Oh really?
Yeah, it's a red flag for me. I'm like, grow up already. Like, what do you mean you're a picky eater? Grow up. Eat your fucking food that's in front of you.
I've been a little bit picky and I've been an eater in the past.
The little things are fine if you have preferences, but like, when there's people who are just
it's like, this can't touch this on the plate, or this has got to be cooked to this absolute, like, nth degree of perfection.
I think unless you have, like, an ism that requires you to not have certain things, which is fine. That's everyone, you know, we all are different in the brain. But I'm saying if you decide that you don't like broccoli because you've never eaten it before and it looks gross to you.
Yeah, then just
you're a child.
Try it.
Eat the fucking broccoli. Yeah. Like, or like, you know,
at least experiment.
Yeah.
Like, this is a big one of mine, but carry on for yours because this is gonna take us somewhere else.
No, well, all I was gonna say was like, you know, you're at a restaurant and like you have like, I don't know, a risotto or something, and then like somebody like picks all of the like peas out and just puts them all to the side and then eats the risotto. I'm like, you're a freak. Like, eat your fucking food. Again, this is not a serious one. It's very much a personal thing. I just don't like
you've got your pet peeves. That's
my pet peeve. What were you going to say?
It's completely on the same topic of that. It's like, if they don't want to grow themselves, that pisses me off.
Yeah.
Like if you actively don't want to push yourself out of your comfort zone,
Yeah.
and I'm someone who really does, that I don't like it. It makes me, it's so underwhelming. I don't find that an attractive quality. Other people might, because they might think, oh, that person likes to be consistent and safe and doesn't need to do much to be happy. No, like, sorry.
It's like, life is so long. Life is so long. There's like so many things to experience. It's like, if you're set in your ways now and you've not even hit your third decade on the planet, I can't even imagine how set in your ways you're going to be by 70. It's
genuinely.
like, no.
It's such a closed, like, mindset, closed world mindset to have.
Yeah.
Which, again, I'm not knocking it if that's how you choose to live your life. But then I personally probably wouldn't be able to be with you, and vice versa. You probably wouldn't want to be with me, because I just cause you a lot of
life is going to shock you if you're like that as well, because there's a lot of torment in life, and it's like, if you are not open to change or development or growth in any way,
if you don't want to eat those peas,
it's going to be hard out there. It's going to be hard. Is all I'm saying.
Because lots of peas will come your way.
Yes, they will.
And then you won't be very appeased. Please stop.
You're so silly.
Shocking, I know. I'm sorry.
All right. Do you have another red flag?
I don't know. I mean, I think I've hit my little profound ones.
Okay, I have a couple more.
Go for it. Picky eater.
Okay, another one for dating. If they have written on their dating profile, looking for somebody who doesn't take themselves too seriously.
Oh, we don't like that. Well, we don't like that.
Run!
Okay, why?
Okay. You should just take yourself seriously.
Oh, boom.
Okay?
Go straight in with that.
You should take yourself seriously. Yeah. This is your life. Like, you should care about yourself enough and value yourself enough and respect yourself enough to take yourself seriously. I think the concept of saying doesn't take themselves too seriously means doesn't mind if I push them around and I take the piss out of them constantly and I like make them the butt of the joke. They don't take themselves too seriously. They're fine with that. It's like, no. You're a high value woman, okay? Mm-hmm. You deserve to be respected. And all that says to me is that you're going to be one of those people who thinks that bullying is just called banter. It's like, no.
I agree. Okay, I agree, because I have had situations where I have been made to feel guilty for being ambitious, or what I'm doing is perceived as is something other than me just trying to build my career. So I get it. I agree. But I'm going to challenge you on this again.
Love it.
Because what if, right? What if what they mean by that, and I know this is not the majority, okay, but you might have those, I'm just forever the optimist. Shit. Okay, personally, I appreciate it when that person that I'm with doesn't take them, be it friend, family, romantic, doesn't take themselves too seriously all the time.
But what
not to the point, yeah.
What does taking themselves seriously mean?
But that is where, okay, so for me, it means that I don't think it doesn't detract from, personally, from the value that they bring. I think it adds to it. I love that, as you know, like, I love that goofy side. I love that, like, I'm not the coolest person in the world. I'm not going to act like it. Like, let's have a bit of fun. Let's mess around. Like, I'm going to sing badly at karaoke, but I'm going to join in and have fun. Like, I'm not going to be the person that sits there and watches everyone because I'm too self-conscious. And I think it's a bit stupid if you want to sing in a bar.
Yeah.
Like, I want that person to be goofy with me.
Yeah.
That's what I think it means.
Yeah.
I know the perspective you're coming from.
Yeah.
And I get that too. And that's where you can be taken advantage of.
Yeah.
But I think I think it's objective.
Subjective.
I think it's subjective.
Yeah, and I think the thing is as well is that with my red flags, I am coming from someone who dates men, and therefore I'm thinking only of a man across the table for me on this date or on the other side of the dating app. And men think very differently to women. Yeah. So if a man doesn't take themselves too seriously as something that they want in a girl, so that way round, that's a red flag.
I can see it. I can see what you mean.
That is a red flag in my opinion, because I think a high value man wants a high value woman. Mm-hmm. And I think that I understand the concept you're saying of like is fun and wants to go out and isn't self-conscious. Yeah. But I don't think those two are necessarily mutually exclusive. You to be self-conscious actually probably means that you don't value yourself as who you are. You value how people see you.
For sure.
And that's not the same thing, in my opinion, as taking yourself seriously means you value yourself as you are.
But that's where I'm saying the language is interesting.
I know,
around
but that phrase, that is a phrase.
It is on a
if
dating app.
If you've ever been on a dating
okay,
app,
fair.
that is a phrase that
I'll stop arguing with you. I agree.
all the time.
I do inevitably agree. I also don't, okay, big flags for me. I just don't like the, like, are you an angel? Because you seem like you fell from heaven. Like, ugh, try something more unique. Like, engage me.
Yeah.
Ask me a personal question.
Yeah.
Tell me, like, what attracted you to my profile or whatever it is that you're finding someone on.
Because that's what you were saying about how it's like if they don't put the effort in, and that's not putting in the effort.
No.
Not thinking about your answers, not thinking about what you're going to do. Like, that is not putting in effort.
Although, didn't we, like, with one of your friends who we successfully sort of supported the setting up of via, was
Alice.
it Hinge? Yeah, is that okay? Okay.
Oh, I'm sure it's okay.
Yeah. They're together and it's a success. So awesome. Nailed it. Wasn't that a catchphrase?
I can't
Didn't
remember.
He use a catchphrase? Didn't he use, like, there was something that we replied to and there was a bit of banter. Yeah.
By that point in time. So I don't remember
How
any
did
of
it
it.
even work?
But
Like, we did well.
yeah, you did a very good
Shit.
job. My last one on here is their long-term relationship ended under 6 months ago. Run.
Ooh, yeah. They need to heal.
Long term. Specifically, I said the words long term, okay?
Yeah.
Because otherwise people are gonna hate on me for this. I know they are. All of my red flags. People are gonna hate on me because they don't like to hear the truth, okay?
Yeah,
people like
true.
you, for example, are optimists out there, okay?
Yeah, I
and
wanna hear the truth.
you want to see the good in
I'm
everyone.
romantic.
And all I'm doing is trying to stop you from a world of pain, okay? So please be
Listen.
easy on me. I'm just trying to stop you from hurting, okay, in the future. If their long-term relationship ended under 6 months ago, they are not healed. 4, 5, 6 months, around that mark. If they're in the first few months after a breakup, if my God, you find out their 2-year relationship ended last month,
Oh, good.
run away, okay? Leave immediately. Not because they're
just
not
be
a good
friends.
person. Sure, but it's a dating app. Not because they're not a good person, not because they don't deserve love, not because of any of those things, but because they are not over their ex. And they need to be over them before they can date you successfully. And I mean long-term relationship. I don't mean a fling. I don't mean a situationship. I just mean something where they thought they were going to end up together for the rest of their lives.
I can't argue that one.
Yeah.
I 100% agree.
It's so bad.
I 100% agree.
And you see it all the time. And I just think you're just hurting. You're just hurting yourself, guys.
Yeah.
You're just hurting yourself.
And it doesn't have to come from a bad place. That person might genuinely believe that they're ready.
Yeah.
But yeah, only time heals. And if there's not been enough time, there's not been enough healing.
They say that it's half the length of the relationship is how long it takes to heal from
in
a
months or
relationship.
years. Like if you've been together if you've been together like 6 years, are you saying it takes 3 to heal?
Yeah, to completely. And I'm not saying you can't date, obviously, or you can even get married in that amount of time. I'm saying for you to completely detach yourself. It's literally a scientific study. It's
Interesting.
half the amount of time it takes. And honestly, in my experience, I would say that's pretty accurate for all my relationships.
Okay.
It's to the point where I stopped thinking about them and I stopped thinking, what are the chances of us ever getting back together again?
After that half term.
After that half amount of time, it did stop.
Okay.
Because I think that no one can say that they broke up with someone and never thought about them again.
That's
That just
true.
didn't happen. Like,
Well, yeah, that would be a shame.
Yeah.
And they've not left a trace on you, and then what the fuck were you doing with them for
exactly
6 years or whatever?
And there are
amount of
also
time?
so many small nuanced things that leave a mark on you in a relationship, like particular meals that you ate together, particular TV shows,
language that you use.
Exactly. So to unlearn all those
experience.
things again, it takes a long time.
That's true.
And I'm not saying that you can't move on during that period of time. I'm saying that's how long it takes to get over. So if they've been in a relationship for 2 years and you are dating and it's been 2 months since they broke up, they are nowhere near the level of over them. They are still at the level of
open and available for you.
Exactly. They're still at the level of if their ex said, want to get back together, they'd probably say yes.
Okay.
Like, that's literally where they're at in the relationship
we don't want
at
that.
point.
We do
So
not want that.
Just stay away.
Basically, listen to Tash, don't listen to me. Because fuck, I'm just a romantic.
You have some good thoughts about some actual aspects of their personalities and things. Mine are things to look out for.
I think I struggle to be a clean cut person because people are so complicated.
Yeah.
But I don't think that that's the right approach. I know that that's how you get hurt.
Yeah.
So I know this is all about let's not get hurt.
And I think it's better to have these really high standards and then realize that there's one person who just is missing one and compromise for them.
Yeah,
That's
of course,
okay.
of course,
than to have low standards and
accept anything.
And get repeatedly hurt. Like, that's just not
Yeah, no, it's fair.
a good idea. Set yourself high, and then you might be,
and then you can adjust maybe.
You can adjust maybe a little bit at the top here, but if your expectations are here, you're never gonna accept something that's down here, are you?
True.
You might accept something that's like a little bit below.
Well, you might accept it, but then you probably won't be happy, and it probably won't last. Green flags.
Well, actually, first of all, I have a question for you.
Oh,
what's your red flag? As in your red flag about your red flag
about myself.
Yeah,
I don't have any. What's my red flag? That I'm just like a mess. And that's a bit of a red flag. I don't know. I think it's that I'm a people pleaser to the nth degree. Mm-hmm. And I don't think it doesn't serve me, and it probably wouldn't serve my partner because I probably would be appeasing them a lot of the time. Yeah. And that's not genuine. And then I probably would try and appease other people to their detriment too. Yeah. Like hanging out with, like, if I've been guilt tripped for not hanging out with someone. Yeah. And I'd probably, I don't know. That sounds like one of those, like, wishy-washy, like, I don't think I have a problem, because I do. I know I've got issues. Maybe that I, like, I'm pretty, like, I have an addictive personality, and I hyperfixate on things. And that will distract me. Yeah. And I probably will neglect that person. Yeah. If I'm into, like, a new passion or hobby, because a lot of them are fleeting, I probably will neglect you. Yeah. And I probably won't be available
for you. Have you ever had an addictive personality when it comes to people? Like, you're addicted to someone?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. But that's another, like, actual scientific thing of, like, the dopamine rush that you get. But I do find that, like, when that happens, I think it's yeah. I don't know. I'm trying to think about it. I don't know that I've had a long-term addiction to anyone. I think there's been moments where, like, that person at that point in time has fulfilled something in me. Yeah. Or has been a safe space, or has been, has served me in some way, shape, or form. I don't know that those are the long-lasting ones. Because I think addiction I've often associated with something that is there to, like, satisfy your needs in the time. Then you don't need it anymore, you can just discard it. Yeah. That's a good question. What is your... I'm throwing them both back at you too.
What's my red flag?
Yeah, and then...
I think my red flag is, and I think we've talked about this before, and we'll probably talk about it again, is I really do have double standards.
Oh, like, okay.
I set the people in my life, especially, like, my relationship, I expect them to be perfect. And if they are less than perfect, they are letting me down. Okay. And I know that I'm not perfect, but I actually do consider myself to be perfect. And that's the fucked up thing. Like, it is.
No, sure.
I'm like, this is so ridiculous, and I know it's not true, and Ali will tell you it's not true. Like, I know I cannot be perfect, right? But I genuinely think that I am the best version of myself in the sense of, like, yourself. In a relationship. Like, I think that I am, like, I have no flaws, which I know is not true because I know it's not true because I have double standards. Okay. So it's automatically by knowing the fact that I hold somebody else to higher standards than I hold myself. Right. I already know that's not a good thing. Okay. So therefore, I know there is definitely. I'm not perfect because I'm holding someone else.
Even just because of that. Yeah.
But I do. I literally expect them to be perfect, and I don't expect myself to be perfect. And it's, like, so ridiculous and fucked up. Baller. It's so true. It is. I'm a princess. I am. And I expect to be waited on. But when I wait on them, it's like, you should be so grateful.
Yeah, like that I'm actually serving you.
Yeah, and I'm incredibly caring, but I want a lot of credit for the caring.
Okay.
Whereas I expect my partner to be caring for me. And I will obviously say thank you and be grateful.
You do say your please and thank yous. That's something.
I always say my please and thank yous, and I always apologise. And, like, I'm quick to apologise, I'm quick to forgive, I'm quick to move on. Like, if we have a bicker or an argument, all it takes is them to say sorry, and I'm fine again. I'm happy, I'm laughing.
As long as they
don't hold a grudge. But literally, they have to not even grovel. They just have to say sorry.
It's nice that you don't hold a grudge, though.
Yeah, it is nice that I don't hold a grudge. But then, you know, like, if other people deal with things differently, like, for example, if I am annoying and he's in a mood with me, and if I say sorry and he doesn't automatically just turn into a ray of sunshine, I'm like, what's wrong
what
with
the fuck is your problem?
Like literally, I said sorry, get over it. Yeah. Like, what do you want from me at this point? It's like it's so double standards. And you know what? I don't hate that about myself in the sense of, like, I've had a lot of relationships and I have had a lot of relationships where I haven't put myself first.
Yeah.
And I haven't been demanding, and I haven't
where it's been the other
had
extreme.
expectations. Yeah. And so therefore I don't dislike it or necessarily want to change it, but I do need to work to realize that to err is to human. And therefore I can't expect to err is to human.
To?
Err.
It's to air.
It's like E-E-R or E-R-R, and it's like to make a mistake is to error.
To be a human.
Like to error is to human. Yeah.
Interesting.
So it's like to make a mistake is to be human. It's like, I think it's like Shakespeare or something.
I like that.
So yeah, that's my red flag.
Okay.
It's quite a big one, actually.
And do you... No, I like the honesty. And do you get addicted to people?
No.
Okay.
No. I'm very unattached, actually. As you can tell from all of my like random hobbies and things. Like I just pick things up for like 6 months and then I drop them again. But I wouldn't say I was addicted. I'm just like,
I like that.
This
I think
is fun,
that's
and then I'm like, nah, don't like it anymore.
I have a very... I think I've said that to you before. I'm a very extreme person, which is not a healthy way to live. Like I should have more balance. But like I won't just have a few less drinks. I will have to either go cold turkey, and then I'm fine with that. Like dry January's been a breeze. Honestly, I don't think I've ever faltered. Or even yesterday I had a glass of Prosecco handed to me to toast my friends who got engaged, and I didn't even sip it. Not even for a toast. I didn't want to. I was like, nah.
Yeah.
But I cannot just have one.
No.
And it's the same with like giving up my job to be a musician.
Yeah.
I can't just be a musician and work in healthcare as an OT. I have to
be all or
quit
nothing.
work and just focus on that intensively for a year.
Whereas I think I'm much more of a moderation person.
No, but moderation is the way to live.
Yeah.
Mine is fucked, and it's an emotional roller coaster. It's not a good thing. It's not a good quality.
Yeah.
So that's a red flag.
Yeah.
Because it will affect my partner for sure. When I'm in that mood where I'm like, sorry, I can't focus on you because I have to focus all on this.
Yeah.
Like, it sucks for them.
Yeah.
They're completely
but there is
shunned.
balance. Like, we can still have a Friday date night because you don't need to work these next 4 hours.
Yeah, exactly. That's not me.
Yeah.
But I'm working on it. I am working on it.
Green flags.
I think we have to do a whole separate episode on green flags.
I think we might do too, because I feel like we've been talking for so long
about red flags. We're already gonna have like 2 green flags now.
Let's do
Are
it.
you nice to me and do you love me?
Let's do a whole nother episode on green flags. I love that idea.
Yeah. You're actually wearing red. You're gonna have to change now.
I don't know if I have anything green. I have to find something green. Oh, I do. Well, I packed it, but I'll find it.
No,
you're not wearing red or green.
Oh shit. That's just me though.
We're like a traffic light.
Yeah.
Alrighty, well, thanks so much
Thanks,
for listening.
guys. Appreciate
Let us know your red flags.
Please do. And do we agree with Tash? Do we avoid all possibilities of being hurt and working with someone from day one? Or do we do what I do and make the same mistakes and give people benefit of the doubt and then get hurt? Which one would you choose?
What's the saying? It's like doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results is the definition of insanity.
But there is a song lyric that I love at the moment, and it's like, we learn their lessons and then we defy them. Because that is the human nature.
Yeah, it's true, actually.
So maybe we just embrace our human nature and just fucking go through cycles of happy and sad and happy and sad, which inevitably we will do anyway, so why fight it?
Such is life.
That's my very... Yeah.
I love it. That was such a fun episode.
Yeah, I loved it. Nice.
All right. We love you guys. Thank you so much for watching. And don't forget to
kiss.
like, subscribe. Love it.
Red flag?
No, it's
Red
too
flag.
cute. You appreciate our listeners. That's a green flag in my opinion.